They're still warm during the day. We're starting to experience those cooler mornings and nights.
We are. Yesterday definitely was a struggle for the plants, but hopefully, I believe the forecast is a few more hot days, but hopefully it's going to be on the way to being cool for our cool weather crops.
Well, we have the opportunity, as those of us who don't know anything about gardening, which I put myself in that category, I am still learning, but you have the opportunity, for those of you listening, to call in right now, 799-8255, and ask any of your gardening questions. Sal has decades of experience, decades and decades, and how many generations have been on that farm of yours?
Yes, believe it or not, 8 generations. And like I always tell people, if you don't believe me, you can go count the grandparents in the backyard. we got them out there.
Their soil is very rich.
Grow really good tomatoes.
So as I try to encourage you to give us a call, I had posted on my Facebook page yesterday the opportunity for people to post their questions there. And so Angie Wiley put on there that she uses both tomato tone and Espoma's bone meal. She says, I use the tomato tone until things are ready to begin to fruiting or rooting for her root vegetables. And then she says she switches to the bone meal. Should I just be using tomato tone and adding it every 4 weeks? Before you answer that, explain to our listeners, what is tomato tone?
Yeah, so tomato tone is an organic fertilizer, and it's not just the 3, the nitrogen, the potash, the potassium. It actually has a whole bunch of different nutrients in it that feeds. It's got calcium, it's got magnesium, iron. It's got everything in there. And what's really great about it is easy for the beginner. You're not going to burn up anything as long as you follow the directions and you don't put it actually on the stem. And then
you kind of bury a little of it in the ground. Like make a little divot in the soil.
You can. You don't bury it. A lot of people think also you're supposed to immediately water it in and make it disappear. This is a product that feeds for the whole month.
Okay, so how is that different than explain bone meal? I think a lot of people hear of bone meal.
And a lot of people, when they think bone meal, first thing they think is calcium. If you'll look on there, it's phosphorus. It doesn't have the part that's got the calcium in it. And phosphorus is good for, like Miss Angie said, Angie Liberty, she said that she's putting it on for her fruit and vegetables to promote those blooms. And that is exactly what bone meal is for. So the tomato tone, super easy for the beginner. Then, like, she can use both of them, like she said. Because it seems like she's been gardening for a while and she knows what she's doing. Now, the bone meal is mainly for flowering, to get the plants to flower and to get them to put fruits on. So if you're doing something like cabbage, collards, broccoli, I wouldn't worry too much about it unless your baby plants, as they're coming up, have a purple stem to it.
Yes.
The bone meal just turned that. It just says, hey, I got a lack of phosphorus. You can also get your soil tested, but as you learn your garden, you'll start learning what your plants need.
Excellent. So when she says, should I just be using tomato tone and adding it every 4 weeks, your bottom line on that is?
Yes, I think using both is fine, but only using the phosphorus when the blooms are fixing to start. Use that. I would back off of it when it's hot July. They're kind of on the struggle bus. The bus has got a bad engine and it's going uphill. You need to just back off a little bit on the bone meal. Yeah.
And some of my plants are definitely on the struggle bus. So she has another question here. Angie also is asking, she says she has cabbage seedlings. At what point do I add the row cover to them?
Okay. I am assuming what she's talking about is covering them from the frost. In South Carolina, I don't worry about that unless it looks like it's going to be a deep freeze. So I assume that's what she's talking about.
Yeah.
And frost actually makes the vegetables taste sweeter. But if you want to just have that extra, what do you call it? That extra, Yeah, or just some extra care. You can actually do that. Just please, please, please do not cover them with plastic, because the worst thing you can do is cover with plastic, and then it starts heating up around 9 a.m., 10 a.m.
Yes.
And all of a sudden it's 100 degrees up under that. And what cool weather plants do in the hot, they just a lot of people call me and say, "Oh, it died from the frost last night," and I'm like, "How long do you keep the plastic on?" Oh, I got up around 11. It burned it up.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, fried cabbage.
Not the way you want it. No. All right. I have my own question. I would like to get in on the air here.
We may let you. I don't know.
I'm still keeping some of my summer plants in my soil because I have so enjoyed I'm still getting okra, believe it or not.
I can believe it in this 90-degree temperature.
Had it last night for dinner. Amazing. The taste is so good. And I am still getting a couple, believe it or not, of tomatoes. And I'm getting a ton of jalapeno peppers.
Yes.
In fact, I brought some into the studio because, get this, I grow jalapeno peppers, but I don't eat them. I've tried. They're so beautiful, and they grow so easily in good soil, but I just don't care for the hotness of it. But the other thing I'm getting are beautiful green peppers. They are still producing my bell peppers. Yes. So that said, I'm waiting for them to finish out, and then I'll pull them out. But I am seeing worms on my leaves, and they are eating up all the leaves.
Yes. And hopefully soon the cold's going to start backing the bugs off. But I said them again. I'm working on it. But I would not use a pyrethrum. We talked about this last show. I wouldn't use it on stuff that's got flowers on it, because you don't want to kill the bees. Now, it's okay for your cabbage plants to hit it with that. Right now, I would use spinoside if it's a beetle or an aphid. If it's a caterpillar, we've got an organic, and both of those are organic. We got an organic called BT. And I think we're about to go on our break.
We are in just a moment. So those products we can hit on a little bit later because, in fact, we're going to talk with Marianne of One Hubcap Farm coming up. And when you mentioned flowers, you are a produce person, but flowers are so vital because it attracts the bees for those beautiful vegetables, which if you have a question, again, call 803-799-8255. We are at 100.7 The Point. Back with more after this.
Hey, welcome back to Grow Your Garden with Sal. And guess who I have? If you're just tuning in, I've got Dawndy Mercer Plank with me in the studio. And we have got a call from a very special lady. Her name's Marianne. She's with One Hubcap Farm in Blythewood, South Carolina. And now I sell vegetables, but this is the flower lady. She's the go-to person for anything you want flowers and know about flowers. Hey, Marianne.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Marianne, what are the main flowers that you're offering right now? I know you have pick days and always a beautiful field of them. What are some of the main ones that people could come and get?
So today I do have a pick day, and people could come and pick zinnias, sunflowers, celosia, cosmos. Those are the main things that are blooming right now. I also have plants for sale. For pre-order, you would pick them up in October that will be blooming in the spring. And so I have foxglove, snapdragon, rudbeckia, and some things like that would be actual plants for sale.
Cool. And what are your hours for the U-Pick today?
It's from 9 a.m. to noon.
9 to noon. And can you tell everybody where you're located at?
I'm at 1236 Muller Road in Blythewood.
And to help people know where that is, if you go down Blythewood Road off Interstate 77, which is exit 27, and you would take, it's near Fairfield Electric, you would take depending on from which direction you're coming, but you would turn onto Moeller Road. The Moeller Road only goes one way, and then you take that about a mile down the road. You're going to get to Mary Ann's place. You also can get to it if you're coming from 321, take Moeller Road up to it. But it is a farm where, I'm always curious, Mary Ann. You and Sal are such experts in your fields. We were talking about the worms and the bugs that can get on the produce that we grow in our gardens. What do you deal with flower gardens? I sometimes wonder, maybe I should have been a flower gardener instead. But I'm sure you have little vermins that you deal with as well.
Well, those bugs that get on your vegetable plants, like the flowers also. Mm-hmm. So right now I'm dealing with lots of different caterpillars. Thankfully I didn't have a terrible armyworm invasion. But in the fall there's always the little green caterpillars that are on the flowers or on your veggies. And I do spray some organic sprays like some BT, and I can't come up with the Latin name of it. It's a bacteria that will kill the caterpillars. I also try to cover them with some cloth when they're small to try to keep the caterpillars from actually the moths from actually laying eggs. But yeah, I have the same sort of problems with the vegetables.
If Adam didn't eat that apple.
And I always say, come on, Eve, what were you thinking? Pushing him that way. Well, again, you are open at One Hubcap Farm today, 9 to noon at 1236 Moeller Road. That is off Blythewood Road if you're coming from that direction, or Highway 321 if you're coming from the other direction. And beautiful flowers to pick today. How big of a bouquet should someone expect? Should they bring some source of water to put those in when they pick them up from your house?
Oh no, I have everything that people need. I have water, and I have buckets. I have 3 different sizes of containers that people can pick into.
Wow, nice.
And I have clippers. I have everything you need, so you can just show up.
Excellent. One thing that you, Sal, and Mary Ann have in common, you both are flower people. I know you're the produce, but you really rely on flowers to draw the bees in for the pollination.
Yes. If we don't have no bees, we don't have no food. So what Mary Ann is doing is definitely. And you were talking last time about how your squash and your zucchini wasn't getting pollinated. We'll have to take a trip down to Mary Ann's, get some flowers planted around them.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Mary Ann.
You still there? Did we lose her?
She's in the flower garden.
She's in the flower garden. So go out and see her. Like her Facebook page. It's One Hubcap Farm. And her website is onehubcapfarm.square.site. I think that's where you can pre-order the plants at.
And you do a lot of sunflowers. She mentioned that she's got sunflowers right now. You have found the value in sunflowers for your produce.
One thing that people don't think about is those darn stink bugs get on everything, and the sunflowers can be planted away from all that, and for some reason it draws the bugs that way, the stink bugs. And anybody who gardens, the stink bugs are a pain in the bug.
Let's talk a moment about soil. We often mention it, and it is something worth repeating because soil is one of those things that people think they can just run to the big box store and grab a bag of soil or put it in the dirt. Not that things can't grow in that. They can. But are you going to get the most out of your seeds or your small plants if you don't have a very rich soil? What is your recommendation there?
No, always invest in soil. Don't put $1 collared in a 10-cent hole. It needs to be good, black, organic soil, and stay away from topsoil. And I think we have a caller in.
CJ? CJ. Let's see.
Oh, hey.
Is that CJ?
Hey, CJ. How you doing?
Teresa, nice to talk to you again, I guess.
Yes, I think you were in the shop yesterday.
Yeah, I sure was, and it was great talking to you.
Thank you.
And she has more questions.
You was a great resource yesterday, so I thought I'd come back.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I was talking to you yesterday about how I am a medical student right now. I'm trying to do this like healthy eating, nutrition education program for school-aged children in our area.
Excellent.
Yeah, so and it's been a lot of work, but we're putting it together, and we have an event coming up. And so I wanted to talk about the garden that we have, but I also wanted to send students home with maybe like a seedling or a small plant. In your opinion, what would be like a good like vegetable or herb for really young children to take care of? That would be okay with maybe underwatering or overwatering or just being able to withstand some of those.
Yeah, a great idea. I've got to get the layout of this, though, CJ. Is it CJ? Am I saying your name correctly?
It's Srija.
Oh, I really messed that up. I'm sorry, sweetie. So explain to us what you're doing with these children. Are they going to do it there on site, or is this something they would take home with them?
So the whole program kind of started, the medical school that I'm at has a partnership with the Salvation Army, and we're just kind of like understanding the lay of the land and the people who live in this area, and we've noticed that a lot of students in this area have food insecurity, which is so awful to hear, just like a child without
very sad.
food. And so we developed this program, my colleagues and I developed a program to try to do education workshops because our initial plan was just to give them, meals and try to prepare those meals or just give them resources to take home. But we realized that without, proper education, they wouldn't be able to really utilize them in the way that I think would be, to their benefit. So we started this program, trying to do these monthly workshops, and we're trying to get them started off the road or try to get them off the ground. But they would probably take the seedlings home. We built a garden back in June, and so they've had a little bit of experience kind of watering those plants and taking the produce home. But the main thing is maybe to take that education home now for their own little like plants or seeds.
And it teaches so many skills. I know. I'm so proud of this young lady.
Yes.
And gardening teaches such good skills. I mean, it teaches science. It teaches biology, good eating, nutrition. So, yeah, I very commend. Is awesome job. Yeah. I just want to say. And next week, we're going to have Michael Frank, Senor Frank, coming in. And he's led several programs like what you're doing now. So I hope you'll listen in and call in on that show too. And as far as taking something home, it's hard to get the kids to eat greens sometimes. But when you go and get greens and broccoli out of the grocery store, it doesn't taste anything like what's in your garden. So getting that, letting the kids actually taste some of that stuff's really going to get them eating. It's amazing. Once they finally eat it, they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is so much better. It's like so candy."
Bad. Right.
Yes.
Wait, you just said it's like candy. That's a phrase I used with my kids trying to get them to eat vegetables when they were little. I'd say it tastes like candy, but it really does. There is a lot that you pull out of the garden. So for these young people then, Sal, what specifically, you mentioned the greens, what green might they really have success with and could enjoy the taste of as well?
I tell you, for little kids, something that's really easy to do is sugar peas. That's not really a green, but they grow great right now. They're real easy. We got a bush one that don't take up much room or much of a pot either.
So sugar peas.
Sugar peas. And it does taste like candy.
Yeah, and they
tastes
really
like
do.
Sugar.
They really do. So would it be best for them to start then with the actual seed?
Yes. So I would get them start 3 seeds in a cup. The size of the seeds, how deep to bury the seed, and water it is pretty easy. They're Harley's gonna not overwater it. I mean, they're really easy to do. Very easy for the kids to do, and even if it doesn't make a full-grown plant, but they learn something. Yeah.
And they would like the taste. That's a great idea. That would be one perfect plant to do. What and how quickly does that one grow? Because I'm sure kids are going to be, even more impatient than we are.
Very impatient. But man, when they go and they see that pea come up and it's growing so quick, they really do actually grow quick. The bush version I've got takes about 90 days.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Well, good luck to you. How many students do you have?
We have about 12 enrolled in the program, and then we're reaching out to nearby schools as well. So hoping to host about 20 students at each workshop.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, if you need pots for them, I have so many left over. I will take them to Sal's, and you can pick them up there. Sal, before we go to
And
break,
we got a ton too.
yeah,
so.
give your address to people at Grow Your Garden with Sal.
Yes. So my store is open at 11:30, and it's 113 Hilltop Drive in Columbia.
Excellent. Well, good luck to you with all these students. We're really impressed with what you're doing, and thank you for teaching them gardening and nutrition all at the same time.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Good
Thank
luck to you,
you.
sweetie. All right, we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk more things gardening. But
Yes.
you have a chance to call in 799-TALK.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. This is Sal with Grow Your Garden with Sal.
And I'm Dawndy Mercer Plank of Dawndy Mercer Plank on Cam. But really, I'm just a wannabe gardener.
And a big, big help. And I think we got a caller now.
Yes, we do. Kathy is on the line. What is your question for Sal?
Good morning. I wanted to ask Sal about a recommendation for a good fall winter cover crop that might help to regenerate some of my beds, soil in my beds.
Yes. How big is your beds?
Well, I have multiple beds, and none are bigger than probably 8 by 10.
Oh, okay. So there's a lot of different things you can do. You can do the winter peas, really, really good. You can also throw some of those brassicas down so you can eat some of it and then also keep some to till back into the dirt. I do advise against clover. It spreads and you won't be able to get rid of it.
Okay.
And then ryegrass would be another good one.
Kathy, stay on the line here with us because I want to delve into this a little bit more and make sure all the listeners here at the point understand this. When she's talking about a cover crop to regenerate, is she saying to get nutrients in the soil? When she says to regenerate, explain that.
Yes. So your plants eat everything out of that soil every time, and when you harvest it, there's nothing in there. There's two reasons why you have it. Well, there's more than two reasons why you have a cover crop, but one of the reasons is to keep the microbes alive. They need that plant in there to keep them alive over the winter time. So if she doesn't want to plant worry about the garden, she just wants to throw a lot of stuff in there, let it kind of overwinter, do what it wants to do. That'll keep the plants alive, and then when she tills it back in, that's going to make the microbes happy because it's giving it some extra organic matter. And even if you're no-till and you just pull it up, lay it out, let it rot, the microbes are what's actually causing that to rot, which is going to turn it back into healthy nutrients for your plants.
What's the status of your garden right now, Kathy? What do you have in there?
Well, we just planted sugar peas yesterday, and we have cabbage, collards, lettuces, various types of lettuce, and then I have a ton of different types of peppers. We grow a lot of hot peppers, and then we have some sweet peppers too. And let's see, what else do we have? Oh, I just started digging up my sweet potatoes also this past week, so we still have sweet potatoes out there. And then for the bees, we have Korean sesame growing all over, and that's really starting to bloom. And so there's a ton of bees out right now. They really enjoy the sesame plants, the blossoms on the sesame. So
wow, Kathy,
we're in transition now.
That's fantastic. So are you going to replant the winter garden? Or because you said you already got some of that stuff in. So when are you just thinking about doing some cover crops on some of the beds?
Yes, some cover crops on the beds where we normally grow the squash and watermelons. I have what I call my lower garden and my upper garden. The upper garden we keep going all year round. The lower garden we only use in the spring summertime.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fantastic. So what do you think? What do you think you're going to choose for a cover crop? You can mix stuff too.
I'm not quite sure right now, but I kind of like the rye because that's something we've never grown before. We've done the clover before, didn't particularly care for that. We also did one year mustard plants.
Yeah, mustard
So I don't
turnips
know how
also.
well
Turnips that go in there and help break up that soil too.
Yeah. So it was actually yellow mustard seed. We used yellow mustard seed, and we grew mustard plants so that we could get more mustard seed.
Oh, that's so awesome. That is really, really cool.
Well, Kathy, I bet you never go to the grocery because it sounds like you've got an amazing garden.
Well, we're both retired, and it keeps us going.
It's a full-time job, too, and that's wonderful to get out there. There's nothing like getting your fingers into that soil and just seeing the growth and then eating it. And that's why I love to garden. It's therapeutic, and for you and your husband to be retired, Kathy, and be able to do this together and then enjoy the fruit of your labor, literally. I do encourage people, especially if you're not gardening. You don't have to start big like Kathy. Kathy's got a whole smorgasbord out there.
She does.
But it's definitely just start with one plant. But it's great to hear what you've got going. Does that give you some ideas then on the cover crop and what to do in regenerating?
Yes, it does. That's very helpful. And in fact, I'm getting ready to go out. I wanted to listen to the show first, and then we're going out. And I've got we also are growing jicama. So I've got to go through and kind of thin that out, and the jicama plants out so that they get a little bigger, because right now they're kind of small. So, but other than that, I mean, it's great. Sal, I'll see you this weekend when I come to get and plants. And I'm getting all my winter beds ready for both to winter and to plant. So
excellent.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, hon. Thank you so much.
Thanks for calling in, Kathy. Have a great day gardening.
Thank you.
See you
have
soon.
A wonderful day. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And talking about the grocery store, I want to tell you we would not have a show without a couple of our sponsors. And one of our sponsors is H&J Cattle Farms. They've got premium beef, and they drop it off here in Columbia. So you can order online, you can pick it up at my store, and then they have also some other drop-off locations. They are located in Saluda, and it's hnjcattle.co. So there's no com, it's co.
hnjcattle.co.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Call in with your questions, everyone, to the Point 100.7 FM or 1470 AM. And the number to call, 799-TALK. 799, that's 8255. When Kathy's talking about regenerating the soil, as I've mentioned to you before, I'm going to be moving my garden bed because I just don't get enough sunlight.
And that's going to be a lot of work.
It is going to be a ton of work. So as hard as it is, I'm not going to be planting any of my winter crops, my winter seeds and such. So
we might have to do you a pot of kale somewhere.
Well, yes,
we got to.
There will be pots going around the house. But what do I need to do with that soil? Because when Kathy was asking her question about regenerating it, it did make me wonder. Because I have compost piles in huge 5-gallon buckets.
Yes.
Should I, once I get the rest of my peppers and okra out, things that are still producing, should I take all of that and dump it into the soil?
I think it might make more work for poor Greg.
Greg's excited.
Greg's going to have to
I tell him it's a great workout, baby.
Exactly.
Lift hundreds and hundreds of pounds all day long.
It wouldn't be, it's totally fine if you want to do that, but you can wait. You can definitely wait. Just keep adding to that compost pile so it can keep your microbes really happy. Because remember, compost is organic matter and the microbes are eating the organic matter, and then that breaks it down so they can feed the plant.
So if that soil just sits dormant for the next 2 months, that's not going to be bad.
You mean in the beds or in the compost, hon?
In the beds.
In the beds, you could throw a cover crop on it.
Okay, but see, I need to get everything out of there because I'm moving it. That's my problem. I'm afraid just to let the soil sit there by itself without doing some work.
Yeah, I think it'll be okay because you've got another compost pile that you're working on. So once you get that soil up and moved, you can introduce the compost to it.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be okay because in your case, you don't want to get the cover crop going in there and then have to dig all that up, especially because this is probably not going to be done in one day.
No.
So it's going to be kind of staged. So,
okay. All right. So for those of you who are not in my situation where you have to move your garden, and again, the reason I'm moving it, I get at least 4 hours of sunshine. Some parts of the garden get 6 hours, but really 6 is okay or good. But as Sal says, 8 is great.
Yes, exactly.
And I am barely reaching 4 because of all the trees.
That's really, my dad's got to move his garden because it during some parts of the year it's almost in full sun. But then midsummer, he had maybe 4 hours of sunlight, and the okra is not making. And he drives a truck. He's not here all the time. And does a lot of different projects with people. And so he wasn't able to see it. So make sure on those days that you're home, you can walk outside and actually look, about 10 o'clock. Look at noon, look at 1, and this is not something that you just do one time forget because the way the earth moves and the sun's in the sky moving and so
and that's a good point. See,
for the seasons.
When I planted it, I was looking at it at a certain time of day thinking, oh, look at this wonderful sunshine. But you really do have to look at what is your morning sun on it, your afternoon sun, your late day sun, and mine just wasn't getting enough. So as we mentioned earlier, tomorrow, everyone, is the first day of fall. My husband reminded me of that last night, that, hey, it's fall weekend. There is a lot going on in town with the Greek Festival and a USC football game, and it's just a gorgeous day as we celebrate the last day of summer and look ahead to starting fall tomorrow. But we want, when we come back from the break in a moment, to talk about the greens that Sal would say you've got to get in the ground now. And I know you've got collards, cabbage, broccoli, and other things on sale right now.
I do, yeah. So we're having a plant sale 11:30 to 3 today. So definitely come out. We've got about 1 minute until we take a break, but after I leave this studio, I'm actually going to the Big Red Barn Retreat. It's a place for veterans in Blythewood, and we're going to volunteer out there, and then I'm going to run as fast as I can and get to the store at 11:30.
The Big Red Barn is located on Highway 321. It is an amazing facility, and you've been part of that, and they offer post-traumatic growth-based training and services for active duty military members, veterans, and first responders. And now when you're out there today, are you saying people can come out there and volunteer as well?
Yes, come out there. The garden spot is on Lorick Road. So I think it's 810 Lorick Road. We'll get the exact address for you.
But at the Big Red Barn.
At the Big Red Barn, but the garden spot's actually on Lorick Road. So come out there and help us out. We're digging up some bad soil that we got in there. So we got to put new soil in. So it's going to take a lot of work.
So yeah, definitely. And it's a great way to reach out to our military and first responders. 799-8255, the number to call, 799-TALK at the point.
Hi, welcome back, and I've got the address if you want to come help us volunteer today at the Big Red Barn Veteran Retreat. It's at 820 Lorick Road in Blythewood. Again, that's 820 Lorick Road, and we're going to be there from 9:30 to about 11:30. If you want to hang around longer and shovel, you definitely can.
And you can ask Sal your questions in person then on gardening. And now's the opportunity for callers to ask you a question. John is on the phone. John, what is your question for Sal of Grow Your Garden with Sal?
Okay, hi Sal. This is John, your neighbor down here on Sharp Road.
Hey, oh my God. Hey, how you doing? Oh my gosh,
Good.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, just listening to everything, and I heard the lady asking about the cover crops a while ago, and her mustard plants and so on. Well, right now I've got my garden completely covered with that black fabric, just to keep the sunlight out, because I was pulling weeds and grass out of that thing for hours on end, trying to get it laid by. My dad used to call it, he'd have his garden laid by for the winter.
I like that.
But, so I do not know what to. And so if I uncover stuff, here comes the grass and weeds back in. But you get these cover crops in there, and they fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah. So how long? What kind of cover you have? You have black, or what do you have on there?
Yeah, it's black bed fabric. I forget what they call it, but
okay. And is it in pretty much full sun?
Pretty much what?
Full sun.
Yeah, the garden mostly.
And how long have you had it on there?
Oh, I've had it on there a good month now.
Okay, what I would do is pull it back, see if it's killed some of the stuff. It's going to kill a lot of the plants that come from roots. You may still have some seeds in there that you might have to compete with, but if you want to, you definitely pull it up, see if everything's dead in there, and you can throw some ryegrass, you can throw some peas, you can throw some turnips, kale. We could even make you a mix up there. That way you can eat too.
Okay.
Yeah. And I said, again. I'm working on it, y'all. Working on it. Dawndy's going to have a buzzard every time
you say, yeah. So what John's trying to do then, he's killing off weeds.
Yes.
And is this a normal thing to do? Is this something other gardeners should be doing? Why is John doing this? I've never done this before.
Yeah, so it's so easy to get in the way and you're not able to go out there and weed your garden. And even if you get soil, like our Sun Grow and our Black Cow, it doesn't have any seeds in it, and you put it out in your bed, you've got all these grass seeds, you've got all these weeds seeds flying through the air that's going to be hitting there. There's just nothing you can do. Getting back to Adam again, right? Hey, you Adam.
And so what he's doing is he's got too many weeds that have come up, and the easiest way to do this is to take that black fabric and kill it that way.
Yes, and the heat will heat it up really hot, and then actually, pretty much burn it up. I've saw some YouTube videos where they're using clear plastic. I haven't had too much luck with that because some of the weeds really like the hot and the sunlight coming through. So the black, you get the heat and the sun blocking the sun, and it's going to kill those weeds. I do that a lot of time too. When I this year, some of the back garden got away from me. It got too many weeds on. I just took a tarp, put over it, a dark covered tarp, and let it sit there for about a month, and it took care of it for me.
Excellent.
Okay.
John, what other questions do you have?
Okay. About the bees. I never see a honeybee in my garden. I see some bumblebees and some butterflies, but I'm thinking about the flowers. I need to plant flowers around the periphery of it, perhaps.
Yes, definitely. There's some late bloomers. It might be a little late to get those in right now, but sunchokes do kind of take over. But if you could put those in a pot, it's a very late bloomer for the bees. Planting all those pollinators throughout is as important as planting your vegetables. You've got to have the bees, and also talk to your neighbors. Are they spraying stuff around, to kill mosquitoes and different things?
No, my neighbors are far enough away that it's not going to matter.
Okay, that's really, really good. And talk to Mary Ann, too, because that is what's so great about South Carolina Certified Farms. We're so friendly, and we want to help you out. So Mary Ann at One Hubcap would be a great resource for different flowers that you can plant in there. I love zinnias.
Okay.
Zinnias are super easy. Of course, that's a summer, so you can't put that in right now. But it sounds like she's got a lot of stuff you can put in right now.
Yeah, so that's Marianne at One Hubcap Farm on Moeller Road off Blythewood Road, or 321 if you're coming the other direction. John, good luck to you today. Thank you so much for calling in to the point.
You bet. Thank you much.
Have a great day.
Thank you, man.
All right, Christina is now on the line. Christina, what is your question for Sal of Grow Your Garden with Sal?
Good morning. I have a quick question. I am working with in my local area with redoing some of the beds, the raised beds at the local schools. What we have here is they've planted some vegetables in the soil, but it's heavy and clay ridden, and I do believe that I have to root because they're not thriving at all.
Oh man!
Now, what do you recommend that I do? And they've just been put in maybe within a week or so. They haven't really set. What do you recommend that I do to amend the soil to lighten it up just a bit? Or if anything that I can do to amend the soil to put the plants back in the box so that they could thrive?
Good question, Christina.
Yeah. So you said that the soil right now looks kind of clay. Like, is it red clay or does it just look muddy or?
It's muddy and red clay.
Muddy and red clay. And clay
Right,
actually has
and
a
right
lot of
to that.
nutrients in it, but it's not living, so you have to have all those microbes to start breaking that stuff down. Do you know where they got the soil from? Did they just grab it from right next, the yard, or?
Some in the yard, and then they just added different bags that I think that they may have gotten on sale or
Yes.
something like that. So it's just really heavy, and it's not. And the drainage is not good.
And a lot of people go into the store and they see a bag of soil that's like $3. And the bad thing about that, really look at the bag. If it doesn't say garden soil, if it says topsoil, that's just pretty much what you're pulling out of your yard. It doesn't have any living matter into it. You could do a couple things. Are you planning on pulling up the plants and then replanting them?
Yes.
Okay, so the cheapest route to go is to get some sun-grow and black cow and then dig out according to your plant. So I'm assuming you're doing collards, cabbage, broccoli.
Correct. All the brassicas and things.
Okay, cool deal. So I would dig out at least a 2-foot hole in the beds and then mix in that soil. So you're actually kind of making a pot within the soil. And hopefully that's going to start breaking down that clay around there too. So you're going to dig it out about 2 gallons to give the roots enough room to really take off. That would be the easiest and cheapest route to go. If you had a lot of manpower, like what we're doing at the Red Barn today, and we're digging up the soil, you can definitely do that and completely replace it. But good gardening soil, it should be able to keep the moisture in, but not hold moisture. And clay and topsoil is just not soil. They really need to put a warning at every store. Topsoil is for filling in holes in your driveway. It's not for growing a garden.
But I love that idea, though, for Christina, is instead of having to take it all out, if she can create that pot within the bed, as you said, digging down a couple gallons worth, right? Mm-hmm. Just moving it over, putting in the better soil, like you mentioned, the sun grow and the black cow, getting some air in it, some lightness to it, and then as you mentioned, it will help eat away at some of that clay, and that way she doesn't have to totally take everything out, which would be such an undertaking.
Exactly. And it's so easy to say, I need soil, and call a landscape place and say, I need topsoil, because people think topsoil and garden soil are the same thing, and it's not. That's why we're digging out at the Big Red Barn today. The soil they got is gray and just not alive, and mistakenly, because most people, like I said, they don't know, and I even hear avid gardeners call good soil topsoil. Up north, the topsoil is a lot better than here, but we've got so much construction going on. That's where that topsoil is coming from. It's coming off all these construction sites. Good for building up, putting under buildings, your driveway. Not so good for your garden.
Christina, good luck to you with this, and how awesome that you're helping some of the local schools with that. Any other questions for Sal?
Thank you. I do have one more question. With the mushroom compost, I know that a lot of the schools use that as well. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm finding is with the mushroom compost as well, that it kind of makes it's not really light. But even with adding the black cow in there, just for the aeration and all of that, do you recommend that sometimes, especially when there are boxes that are sitting right on top of the ground, right, which is clay, do you recommend putting maybe sticks or rocks or something underneath these beds before they're laid out to assist with drainage?
and we may have to go to a commercial break and come back to you, but I'm sorry, we have time. I'm learning the radio, okay? So I'm teaching gardening and learning the radio. Yes, two different questions. I would not, mushroom compost and black cow is going to be about the same consistency. So I have this professional growing mix called SunGrow, and it helps lighten up the soil, and SunGrow helps to loosen up the soil and is great for mixing in with mushroom or black cow. And that's it for us today. We appreciate you and hope you stop in and definitely visit our website. Thank you so much. Bye.
Love you, sweetheart, and miss you, and just love your hair and you all over. You're a beautiful, beautiful person. God bless you, bless you, bless you.
Splish splash, I was taking a bath, long about a Saturday night. Yeah, rubbed up, just relaxing in the tub, thinking everything was alright. Well, I stepped out the tub. Splish splash, I was taking a bath.